And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, as today I want to talk about Ohio State's wide receiver room heading into next year for the 2026 college football season, as we have seen an unprecedented amount of change in a room that has been awfully stable under Coach Brian Hartline, who is no longer here. So let's talk about it. All right, so before we get into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We got to 200 on a month ago. We're at 218, trying to get to 220. We are 2 away. If you want to be one of the 2 people that helps us get there, that would be amazing. And then if you enjoyed today's show, only if you enjoyed today's show, remember to hit the like button. It means the world to me. All my videos that get likes get promoted way more than ones that don't. So if you want to help out a little bit today and help the channel out, it's free, costs nothing, would mean a lot. And then you can also turn on the notification bell if you want to get a personalized notification anytime I release a new video, if you enjoy the show that much. But I want to talk about Ohio State's wide receiver room, because this is a room that has been awfully stable, that is going to go under a lot of change. I made a video talking about specifically the Brandon Inniss versus Kyle Parker battle. I will pin it up there. That is for the slot receiver. So if you were interested to see my opinion on kind of who I think is going to start at the slot, you should go watch that video. But for the first time, Ryan Day has kind of came out last week in his press conference and talked about how he felt between each room at Ohio State, and he actually said that wide receiver room was one of the deepest. I'll get this up close to my face. My goodness, the wind. If you live in Ohio, the wind here, what is going on with the wind? I don't know. Someone tell me if you know anything about the weather. But I made Ryan Day made a statement talking about how the wide receiver room was the deepest that it's been in a while. So what does a while mean? Is it the deepest in 3 years? Is it the deepest in the past 2 years? Is it the deepest since the 24 national championship? Is it deeper than just last year? Is it deeper than, or is it the deepest since the 2021 wide receiver room, which is the best wide receiver room in college football history? So I don't know. I don't know what a while means. Obviously, I thought last year's wide receiver room was pretty deep. You had Jeremiah, Carnell, Brandon, Mylam Graham, Quincy Porter, and I'm trying to think who. You had David Adolph as well. And I think that was it. And then before, I guess the year before that, I mean, you had Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss. And then was Mylam Graham. He's not you had a freshman Mylam Graham. So I can honestly say that that wide receiver room was deeper, but maybe not. I really thought the loss of Mylam Graham and Quincy Porter was going to completely shrink this room. But with the transfers seeming like maybe they've hit, I've seen a lot of good talk about Devin McKeown. Not much for Kyle Parker yet, but also I haven't heard anything about Brandon Inniss yet. And the captains have not been set, so it's not like, okay, Brandon Inniss is going to be a returning captain or he's not a captain. And I don't think under Day I think it was maybe Chris Drew for Dead Air Sports. He said that, or like the maybe it wasn't him specifically, but that Dead Air Sports was talking about the other day when I was listening to them, that there's never been a player in Ohio State history who has won a starting job and then lost it the next year. It's never happened. So would it start with a returning senior captain at receiver? I don't know. With Cortez Hankton coming in from LSU, maybe he wants his guy. Remember, Kyle Parker came from LSU with Cortez Hankton, the new wide receivers coach, since Brian Hartline went to USF. So he might want to have that guy starting over the so-so returning guy who had 3 touchdowns, 300 yards last year. So I don't know. I went more in depth about it in that video, so you should go watch it. I don't really remember all the points I made, but slot is going to be interesting, especially because it's not like we have 2 phenomenal guys just who I'm happy with either. I don't know if the majority of the fan base is happy with either. If Brandon Inniss starts, the people that have been in the Woody that have seen practice, all I've heard is that Brandon Inniss in practice, Brandon Inniss in spring and fall camp in the weight room is great leader, but then on the field he's just so-so. And I'm the guy. I'm the Brandon Inniss guy. Brandon Inniss is one of my favorite players on the team the past couple of years. He's a great guy, great personality, And I'm the guy that's like, he can make a good contested catch. He's not afraid of getting hit, kind of like Carnell Tate was in that Miami game. Even in the Michigan game, he was never afraid of getting hit, and he's always there to participate and try to give his all for the team. He's not a great blocker, but I think what someone else called him that I agree with. He's a willing blocker. Even if he's not the best blocker, he is a willing blocker, and he will block for you. He's a great team leader. Obviously, Jeremiah likes him a lot. Also, whenever Jeremiah gets in a fight, Brandon Inniss is always the guy that go. Like, do you remember last year? I was actually at the game when Ohio State played Ohio U. Jeremiah grabbed two Ohio U cornerbacks by the face mask, like pushed them off their balance, was holding them up by their face masks, and Inniss had to come over to break it up. Like, it's so funny. It's so funny. So at slot, I think it'll be interesting. My real concern and why the kind of reason I made this video is obviously the Z. You're replacing Carnell Tate. Even before Carnell Tate, when he was back in the slot in the 24 year, when Jeremiah slid out to X, you had Abuka at the Z. He's your second receiver. I mean, obviously Jeremiah could play Z if he wanted, but he's going to play X. So he's going to play that first receiver role. So with the Z, I don't know. Practice, it's only been like day 2 of spring or day 3 of spring so far. So I can't take away everything from the first couple of days. Chris Henry Jr., freshman, was he the third best receiver he used to be the first best, and then now I think he's the third. So Chris Henry Jr. in practice, he's really big. Obviously, he's 6'5", bigger. He's taller than Jeremiah. He's super lanky. He kind of looks like a freshman, but he's got a ton of muscle. The tattoos make him look more like a veteran player, but like Jeremiah was also that. I mean, I was actually rewatching the Ohio State Tennessee game for like the billionth time. And I was watching it, and I looked at Jeremiah, because everyone this past year, and especially this year, was like, look how big Jeremiah has gotten. I'm like, please, I've seen Jeremiah. He's big. I look back at that Tennessee game, his freshman year, and I'm like, wow. Like, you're right. Jeremiah was a lot smaller. Jeremiah now is like jacked. Jeremiah's freshman year, I mean, I remember when he first came in, it's like, oh my God, look how jacked Jeremiah Smith is. And now seeing how Jeremiah Smith looks now, looking back at him in his freshman year, I'm like, oh my, you got little kid Jeremiah, little skeleton and bones Jeremiah. And it's actually kind of how Chris Henry Jr. looks. Obviously, I think Jeremiah was a lot more physically mature his freshman year than Chris Henry Jr. But I still think Chris Henry Jr., obviously, for any Buckeye fans thinking that we're lucky enough to get like 2 Jeremiah freshman seasons from Jeremiah, then also like Chris Henry Jr., he's just going to be what Jeremiah was his freshman year. Stop. I don't think we're ever going to see that ever again. Well, okay, I'm not going to say ever again. We're not going to see that for a long ass time because we hadn't really seen it before. So actually, you might not ever see it again. I don't know. But I think he will be good. Will he start over Devin McKeown? I actually don't know. I have a feeling I feel like they're going to walk out against Ball State at the beginning of the game, and I feel like they're going to put Chris Henry Jr. out there first. Does not mean he's starting, but first snap of the game on offense, I feel like we could see Chris Henry Jr. out there. That's what we saw with Jeremiah Smith. Remember, obviously Jeremiah went crazy in camp, but I mean, Jeremiah was targeted very early on that first game, and I wonder if we'll see that. So it'll be interesting because Texas is not week 1, it's week 2. If the week 1 isn't just going to be get all the veterans that we know are going to play majority of the snaps in the Texas game, get them reps, and then not worry about the freshmen. Obviously, Jeremiah's freshman year, Oregon was the first, I guess Iowa too was the first actual game you played, and you started off with, what was it was Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall. Give all the freshmen whatever they want, those first 3 games. But with Chris Henry Jr. now, even though I think he could be out there, it's going to be a question. Hey, is he going, like, how hard is they going to be on him throughout spring camp? More like, well, obviously he's going to be hard on them, but is he going to go full ham on him, kind of like what he did with Jeremiah, be like, hey, we need you to start? I don't know, especially with bringing in Devin McKeown. He's a fast guy, good ball skills, hand skills when he was at UTSA. Obviously, without Brian Hartline, you're not going to get that level of development. But hopefully with Cortez Hankton, obviously I trust all of Day's hires for the most part. Tyler Bowen wasn't great last year, but I trust Day for the most part. Sounds like everyone at LSU did not like Cortez Hankton, but also like Cortez Hankton was responsible for Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Cal Parker, who we got. I mean, Cal Parker was the guy they were upset that left LSU, the LSU fans were. So it's like he's had a good pedigree of LSU receivers, and obviously Kyron Lacey, rest in peace. So I think he's been responsible for talented receivers. So I trust him there. But my concern is if something happens to Devin McCool. Like, do you remember Ethan Oninawa? We brought him in from Rice. He was our left tackle, brought him from the G5 up, gave him $1 million. Like, I wonder if Devin McCool might be that Ethan Oninawa where it's, okay, now he's not starting. Okay, we're going to have to slide Austin Servo from right tackle to left tackle. Phillip, you're at right tackle, and you weren't supposed to be starting for another year. You were developmental piece of the offensive line, and if Ethan Oninawa wasn't a bust, he stays at left tackle, Saraveld's at right tackle, and then Phil probably steps in at right guard instead of Tegra. Oh my God. Don't get me started on Tegra. But if that happens where Devin McCool is not the guy that Ryan Day wants him to be, it's like, okay, Chris Henry Jr., you're starting at Texas on the road. Good luck. And he has a couple drops. It's like, okay. You know, it can start to be rough. And obviously, the offensive line has to play well. The offensive line played well against Texas last year, but Colin Simmons in his money year, his junior year, his last year before the NFL. Watch out, especially after how that offensive line ended the season last year against Miami and Indiana. But anyway, back to the receivers. I think that's probably the biggest concern is okay, Devin McCool, Chris Henry Jr. Even though Day has said the room is deep, the tight end room was deep last year, and I was sick and tired of the tight end room. So deep does not mean good. Will the wide receiver room this year be better than last year's wide receiver room? Probably not. Just because you're losing Carnell Tate, who's the number one receiver in the draft, only behind Jeremiah, who was not even eligible yet. And is this year's wide receiver room better than the 24 year? No, because that had Carnell, Emeka, JJ, and Brandon. So I don't think I think it's probably the worst of the past 3 years. Is it better than the 22 wide receiver core? With JSN, no, because it was JSN, Abuka, and Marv. Without JSN, and it's just like Abuka, Marv, Julian Fleming. I guess I forgot the 23 year. Is it better than the 23 year? No, you had Abuka and Marv. 22-23 is kind of similar because JSN didn't play. Is it better than those 2 years? Yeah, I would say so because Abuka wasn't. I mean, he was a sophomore. And Marv was great, but JJ's better, and I'm excited. It is a really deep room. So I would probably say it's not better than 25 or 24 or 21. It could be equal or better than 22 and 23. I'm trying to think also, Jerkaden Guilford. Is that how you pronounce his name? Hold up. Let me just make Jerkaden Guilford. Yes. Freshman. He looks awesome. People are talking about how he can catch 50-50 balls. I wonder if he'll get a start. There's a lot of freshmen, not only in the receiver corps, but on this team. And I'm wondering if the wide receiver room is going to see a lot more freshmen. Obviously, you're like, well, Jeremiah was a freshman. Also, Jeremiah Smith was the best receiver in the country his freshman year. So you can't include Jeremiah. But with everybody else, I mean, Cortez Hankton also is known for using freshmen, even like annoyingly so. LSU fans get like upset. It's like, you keep using all these freshmen, we keep sucking, stop doing it. So I wonder if we'll see that, and I wonder if he can pair that between. It's going to be weird because you're going to have Arthur Smith with the tight ends, you're going to have Day wanting to put the seniors out, and then Cortez Hankton wanting to do the freshmen and have all the receivers out, but Arthur Smith wants the tight ends, and so it'll be interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of tight ends with Jeremiah one-on-one, which he'll be doubled, but with the offensive line being a senior, all like mostly seniors and juniors and returning starters, maybe with Ian Moore, we'll see about Ian Moore. Sounds like Phil might stay out at tackle, which I don't know. But with Bo Jackson taking another leap going into sophomore year, even if you double Jeremiah, it's going to be a mismatch ratio in the box. And with Arthur Smith, they're able to get that run game going that Brian Hartline wasn't because of how young he was. Then we're going to be able to run the ball really, really well, which will allow them to single cover Jeremiah, which will allow Jeremiah touchdowns. But also, you still want to see the Ohio State, I mean, you still want to see like gun, where you have 3 receivers or like 5. I mean, I would love to see 5 wide receiver trios where we get Jeremiah, Devin McKeown, Kyle Parker, Brandon Ennis, and Chris Henry Jr. May even sneak some Jerquade and Guilford in there. I would love to see that. I doubt we will, but I wonder if Julian Sets won't be as good just because of the tight ends, but we'll see. Also, the RPO game will be a lot better. That's kind of all I have for the receivers. Today was, the reason why this video is going to come out tomorrow morning instead of today was because my brother had his flag football championships. He played pretty well today. He went 2-0 in the expedition games over the past couple weeks. Won in the quarterfinals, the 3-0. They lose in the semis, 3-1. And then his team won in the expedition game, which is like the toilet bowl. So his team went 4-1, but in the expedition game, he had to switch teams because there wasn't enough kids in the team. So 3-2 overall record. Played well. Defense, we're still improving. But I'm actually going to go over... Nope, wrong one. Nope. That's for my... Hey, hold on. Actually, since I brought this up, if you don't know what this is my Big Ten or my conference realignment video. You should go watch. It's one of my favorite videos I've made so far, and I put a lot of effort, and I love this graphic. This is my preview for my Big Ten. The video's already out on the channel, so you should go watch that if you want to see how I would fix conference realignment. Which one? All right, so yeah, I had to fix my thing so I can see it. Here's a couple highlights from his game that he played. Let me see. He threw a pass. This is his first ever pass, and he threw it off the back foot for a touchdown. That was awesome. I think that was in the first game that they won. Here, we worked on covering a lot. Pass deflection. Awesome. He caught a touchdown, first ever receiving or second receiving touchdown. That was in stride. I mean, what a play. Yeah, we worked on these deep posts all the time. I think this is a pick. He dropped it, but it was almost a pick. What else? Tipped ball, almost intercepted again. Safety ball hawk. He's the Caleb. He's just the Caleb Downs of the team. Whenever you have any good safety, just Caleb Downs. Any physical safety, I think it's just a run. Yeah, staying on his feet. I mean, making everybody miss. Touchdown. Then there's also a run. Yeah, too fast. Too fast for these kids. I think this is the last one. Yep. 6 years old, bro. 6 years old. Look at him. Burst of speed. Ezekiel Elliott down the sideline. Can they catch him? No, they can't. Look at that. Look at that kid. Look at that kid falling down. Look at that. Okay, I can't be making fun of little kids. Here, another cop. Oh yeah, another touchdown. This is from last week. This is not from this week. So 2 receptions. But today he had 2 rushing touchdowns, caught a touchdown, and threw a touchdown, which means if he would have had a pick 6, he would have scored in every fashion of the game, which almost got a pick. There was a pick 6 on his team earlier. Stiff arm the kid in the ground. Little there. And a little stutter step, juke him out. Stiff arm him on the ground. Stiff arm that kid in the ground. And scores. I think, is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. But, yeah, that was awesome to go to. That was fun. That was the end of his football thing, so we're going to have to wait till, I think, a month before. So we got a month of training before we can get back to that. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We got to 200. Trying to get to 500 before the beginning of next season. We're at 218, 2 away from 220. I want to get to 220 before Wednesday. So if you want to help us get there, that would be awesome. We got 2 to 3 days. But make sure you also hit the like button if you enjoyed today's show. But again, that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys all turn in tomorrow for another video. But again, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And as always,